Hey guys, it's Michelle from Cozyegg, and today is Friday, November 30th, 2018, and this is episode 67. This is probably going to be a quick video today because I'm like trying to get stuff done. But we'll see how it goes once I, start rambling. So, where was I? So it's the end of November. Tomorrow's the first day of December. And I am in I feel like I'm in massive crunch time mode. Like I want to finish all the things. I want to, clear off all this stuff that's been hanging around. And not just with my stitching and my projects and stuff like that, but other stuff, like stuff around the house and, projects I've been working on and all that kind of stuff. And the new wrinkle is, so when I started my blog a million years ago, well, in 2006, see, here comes the rambling. So 2006, I started my blog over on Blogger. A few years later, I started, instead of uploading my photos directly to Blogger, I started putting all of my photos out on Flickr and then linking to them. And that's basically how I've done all of my photos on my blog since then, even since moving off of Blogger over to WordPress and my own domain and all of that other good stuff. But Flickr has changed a lot of its terms of service, and the cost for a pro account has just gone up and up and up to the point, and it's just not really worth it anymore. So in order to get down to the size limit that I need to be on Flickr, and the number of photos that I need to be before January, I have to do some massive work on my 3 blogs. So basically, anything that I have hosted out on Flickr, I need to upload locally to my sites. And so at the moment, that's looking like it's about 6,000 photos. So, I've been sort of working on that. That was kind of a monkey wrench that I was not really expecting. I didn't realize I had that much out there. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the things that I'm working on. We have our annual holiday party next weekend, so I need to do decorating the house. And as you can see behind me, I've not done any decorating, because obviously in December this quilt changes and the swords aren't here. So I've not done any decorating and I need to get that done. So yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the stuff that's been going on. So let's talk about stitching though, shall we? So I want to show you kind of what I've been working on and what my plans are for the first part of December and all that good stuff. So I did actually have 2 finishes since I recorded last. The first finish was, I think I showed you those Prairie Schooler lions from that Noah's Ark leaflet that I'm doing for EGA, for our Opportunity Knocks raffle piece that we're doing for seminar. And so I got those started, ran out of thread, got more thread, got those finished. Luckily, all the thread that I needed was in my stash. So I was able to get that done. I was kind of like, I want this done before Thanksgiving. And so like the 3 or 4 days leading up to Thanksgiving, I was like hitting it hard trying to get those lions done, and I got them done. Here is a photo. And when I went to EGA on Tuesday night, the lady that's going to be doing all of the finishing, the one that kitted everything up, showed us kind of a one piece that had already been finished and what that was going to look like. And I think it's going to be super cute. Once everything's done, I will make sure to insert a photo to show you guys what it looks like. But she's basically doing them kind of as stand-up. So they're going to have a wooden base that's actually like a slice of, like a tree branch, like a couple, like a larger circle and then a smaller circle and then a little wooden bead, and then it's going to have a dowel that the ornament can fit down on, so that you can have them, kind of as stand-ups. Or she is also going to be finishing them with cording so that you could also hang them as ornaments if you wanted to. But super cute. I think once all the finishing is done, it'll be a really cute item. But oh my God, stitching those lions was about like boring. So, but I got them done. And the reason I was pushing so hard to get them done, not only because I needed to turn them back in, but because my deadline that I had given myself was this Sunday, which is when our holiday party is. But I managed to get them done before that and turn them in at EGA Tuesday night. And the reason that I wanted to get them finished was because I decided that I really wanted to start something for Thanksgiving. So I've seen, I know some people that like to have a start on Thanksgiving and do, some sort of seasonal piece that they will have finished by Christmas. And I kind of love that idea. And, a few years ago, Paulette from Plum Street Samplers did her Sunday Mystery Sampler. And so the first year was a really sweet nativity piece called Mary's Sampler that she released a little piece of each Sunday between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so that by Christmas you would have a finished piece if you kept up with it, which I did actually. And that turned out really cute. I will insert a photo of mine here. And then the next year she did her 12 Days of Christmas ornaments, which I have stitched the first one, and that's it. That's all I've gotten done. Eventually I'll get back to those. More to come on that later. So I decided that I wanted to have a Christmas or a Thanksgiving start with the intent that it be finished by Christmas. And since it was actually the last weekend in November, last weekend, it happened to sort of coincide with Caroline from Off the Grid, with her high tea start that she does, the last Sunday of the month. And the premise of the high tea start is something that has been sitting in your stash, languishing, that you finally just get out and start, so that you can enjoy stitching on it and it's not just languishing anymore in the depths of the stash. So this kind of fits in with that theme, even though I actually started mine on Thanksgiving, so I was a few days before high tea, but I think it fits in with the premise of high tea, because this is something that has been in my stash for 10 plus years. I fell in love with it the second that I saw it. I actually saw a model at my LNS that has since closed, and they've probably been closed like 5 or 6 years by now. I fell in love with it then, and finally was able to get a copy of it. I bought the fabric for it at that same shop, probably around the same time. And it has sat in my stash since then. And every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I love this piece so much. I can't wait to stitch it. But for some reason, I've always put other things in front of it. I don't know why. But, so this is, let me take it out of my sleeve I've got here, because I keep all my patterns in notebooks. So this is Blackbird Designs, Blackbird's Winter Delivery. And I believe that this is Loose Feathers number 5. So it's an old one. This is from, I want to say like 2003. Somewhere I thought it said that. 2003, oh yeah, copyright 2003. So anyway, so I have been completely in love with this piece since I initially saw that model at my shop, and it was this framed piece here. So Alphabet, Blackbird, he has a little Christmas tree on his back. He's on this little branch. And I just absolutely am enamored with it. So I decided the time has come and I just needed to get it out and start it, which is what I did. So this was my Thanksgiving start, and it is also a finish. So I started this on, I wonder if I put it, that's better, maybe. So I started this on Thanksgiving and I finished it, I think, on Saturday. So it only took me 3 or 4 days to stitch it. And I'm just super, super thrilled with it. So I stitched this on the called for linen. It's 30 count Cranberry Bog by R&R, which from what I understand is no longer available. There are a couple of other suggested options for it if you have this and if you are wanting to find fabric for it, or if you just like this color fabric. There is Weeks Aztec Red, and I believe, which is one of the substitute fabrics that was offered by a lot of shops for the hands-on design 12 Days of Christmas ornaments, because that red gingham fabric was impossible to get. So a lot of people were using Aztec Red, which is very close to this color. And then Weeks Pear is also similar, I hear. I have not seen that one in person, so I couldn't say. But this is on 30 count Cranberry Bog R&R, and of course you can see it's R&R. How see-through it is. I stitched this with all of the called for threads. It's all Gentle Arts threads except for the black that the letters and the outer border are. They just called for DMC 310. And I'm like, if I'm gonna use overdyes, I'm gonna use overdyes. So I used Gentle Arts Raven, and it has a subtle variation to it, which I love the look of. The other substitution that I did, in his wing, it called for cherry bark, and I have literally like this much cherry bark left, like not even a whole 6 strands. I have like 3 strands. So I used Currant, which is a similar color. It has a little more variegation than cherry bark, but I love the way it turned out. And his body is dark chocolate. This lighter color here is Tin Bucket, which is, you know, kind of a bluish gray, but it does look more blue on that fabric. And then it calls for some beads up there at the top. It calls for mill hills. I did not have them, so I just found some beads in my stash that I liked the look of. So I think these are a little more red than what was actually called for, but I love the way it turned out. And you can see there are some eyelets there. So I had so much fun stitching this. I really did. And I'm so thrilled that I had a Thanksgiving start, which was kind of fun and special. I had a finish, but more importantly, that something that has been in my stash for, 10 plus years has now been stitched, and I now have it out where I can enjoy it, or eventually once I frame it or whatever I do to it, then I can enjoy it. So, and that's priceless. It also has a smaller little chart in here that's just for the little bird. That's for a stocking, or, they did kind of what the Blackbird ladies do a lot, which is they make a color copy of it and then finish it on a box top. So I definitely would like to stitch the little guy on the stocking at some point. And maybe not even on the stocking, but just stitch the little guy as an ornament. I think will be cute. So, start and finish. I'm super excited by that. And yeah, here's my 30 count Cranberry Bog R&R 9x9, $3.50 from Ada Works, which is no longer, sadly. One of the bonuses when we moved into this house, was that Ada Works was like literally right around the corner, which, was a bonus for me, not a bonus for Eric, but they closed. So, all right, that's it for finishes. So let's talk about whips. Oh, and while I worked on that, I used this as my project bag. This is my Levy Moore Studio Co sleeve that I bought using my Bendy 10 discount code. So when I saw this on Michelle Bendy's channel, I had to go have one too. So now we're sleeve twins. So I did use this as my project bag, which was perfect because I could put my threads in here and my working copy of the chart, and I was good to go. So that was its inaugural voyage. Okay, so what have I been working on other than those couple of things? I worked on Sampler Sisters, which, as a reminder, is this piece. Primitive needle, out of print, don't ask for it. And so this was a Sal with Emily, Eclectic Possessions, Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches, Judy, who is J Cash 77, I think, on Instagram. Wide-Eyed Stitching Child, and she actually started and finished hers. Like in the time I did my Blackbird, she started and finished her Sampler Sisters. So if you recall, I already had this started. I had started it a few years ago before I went to summer school at the Attic, because I had some friends I wanted to stitch their initials on here. But this is how far I got. So let me see if I can show you. And this is on 40 count Picture This Plus Mellow, which is what it calls for. My lighting is not great it is daylight, but it is way overcast because we're supposed to be getting storms. So I stitched that little dog, the little cat. I skipped so right here, this section is where you personalize and put, your name and when you stitched it. I sort of skipped that because I knew I was going to have to chart my name and figure out if it would fit and all that. So I just kind of skipped up to the border right up above that and got that stitched. And then started stitching the verse. So that's what I got done. There's a lot more to go. And like all the fun stuff's up at the top. So, but I was so happy to have this out again. I would really like to stitch on it some more and not let it languish. So I think I'm gonna, try to make sure to put this in my rotation for 2019. And I'm using all of the called for threads. They are Gentle Arcs and Weeks. I think it's just Gentle Arcs and Weeks. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And I'm glad that I got it back out, like I said. So that was fun. Stitched on that for, I guess, about a week. And then I decided, okay, I need to go work on these lions and get those done. So when I finished working on that, I did work on my stitch piece a little bit. And so this is where I'm at on this. And it's really hard to see the colors of this. This is a dark purple. These are black. And then this is this kind of crazy bright pink fuchsia color. And then I've got that bright green I'm going to use. So down here at the bottom, I've got these two little guys stitched, and I've got all of the pink little petals or whatever they are stitched in there. So as soon as I get the other 1, 2, 3.5 of those done, then I'll have week 2 done. I think we're on like week 6, week 7, something. We're only like a week or 2 away from the whole thing being done. Whatever. I'm working on it when I can work on it. That's all I can do, right? And then the other thing that I have gone back to, which I mentioned I was going to do, is work on Anniversaries of the Heart. So I have been working on that since I finished with my winter delivery piece. And here's where I'm at. So I'm working on block 9. And so since you saw this last, I've stitched this little dog, and I think I got this border finished. I've started the house. I've got the roof done. I've got the first row of windows done, and you can probably tell maybe that I'm starting to fill in the house. So that's what I got done over the past several days, which isn't a whole lot. I have not been stitching a ton, unfortunately. My mojo's just not with me. And to show you what this whole block looks like, that's what the whole thing looks like. So I've got the rest of that house to do. That's like the majority of it. I need to finish my tree. There's a little thing right here next to the tree. I need to do this bottom border and the personalization, and then do the flowers and this border here. So I still have a ways to go, and I had really hoped to have this done like 3 weeks ago. But what are you gonna do? I just can't seem to focus really, unfortunately. So like I whipped that Blackbird thing out so freaking quick, and now I'm just like, okay. So that's it for what I've worked on. I did a little bit of EPPing on my Hex on the Beach, English paper piecing. I did a little bit of knitting on my way at shawl, but really not a lot to write home about. So, plans for December. I'm going to continue to work on Anniversaries of the Heart. That's going to be my main focus. I would like to also get Stiach finished, but I don't think that's going to happen before it ends. It would be nice to have it finished before the end of the year, though, so I don't have to carry it over. And then the other thing that I may throw in, so Caroline, off the grid, was talking about doing what she's calling Flossmas. And in her video from Monday, she talks about it. And so similar to high tea, where, you know, you're trying to start things that are in your stash that have been languishing forever, she realized that she has like 1,000,000 years worth of, I may be exaggerating, 1,000,000 years worth of just cross stitch ornaments that she has stitched nothing out of, or like one thing. So what she wanted to do was for Flossmas, is every day of December start a new ornament. So that's her plan. She, you know, has basically said there's no rules for Flossmas. It can be whatever you want it to be. You know, so just join in if you feel like doing that. And so one of the things that's been, you know, I told you I've been on this, like, I need to get things done kick, before the end of the year. One of the things, as I was pulling threads for my Blackbird piece, as I was pulling threads for my Sampler Sisters piece that I had scavenged out of that project bag and had dispersed to other project bags, as I was doing that, it just occurred to me again, like how many whips I have. And I just feel, more than the number of whips weighing on me, I just feel so disorganized. Like, even though I have a system, it's like every time I want to work on something new, then I've got to go dig all this floss up that I've, like, you know, pilfered and put into other things and, you know, whatever. And it's just sort of getting to me. And so one of the things that I'm kind of contemplating for next year is, you know, I've done a number of things. Like, I've done Whipocalypse, I've done Year of Whips. I tried one year to do, you know, where I picked like 10 projects and put them in a little, you know, put them on slips of paper and put them in a jar. And then, you know, I picked one and the intent was I would work on that till it was done. Well, the second project that I picked was Anniversaries of the Heart, and I worked on that for like 6 months straight and got totally burnt out. Excuse me. And that's why I haven't really worked on it since then. And that was years ago. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, but one of the things that I was kind of contemplating was trying to kind of work by project bag. So I typically have 3 or 4 projects in every project bag. That's how bad it is here. And so I'm sort of leaning towards, I'm just going to pick a project bag and like work on the stuff in that project bag and see if I can knock some stuff out. So that was kind of my thought. Like, for example, in this bag, I had the lions, which I got done. I have stitch in here, and then I also have this Good Housewife piece that I was working on that's in there too. So it's like, maybe I should just work on trying to finish the stuff in this bag, you know, and not try to focus on my whole pile of whips. Maybe just work on the stuff in this bag. You know what I mean? So how does that relate to Flossmas? This little cutie is one of my Christmas bags. It doesn't look like a Christmas bag because it's Parisville fabric. This has Christmas ornaments in it that are whips or going to be started, or I stitched one for, you know, one of the guild exchanges, and now I want to stitch one for myself. So for Flossmas, what I thought I would do is I'm just gonna like focus on this bag. I have 2 other Christmas project bags, but I'm just gonna focus on this bag, which I know is just ornaments. And I may just pull one out and work on it a little bit, and then maybe pull another one out and work on it a little bit, and see if maybe I can't weed through some of the stuff in this bag. So no rules, no I'm gonna do this every single day, no whatever. But I thought, I'm gonna work on what's in this bag if I feel an itching to work on a Christmas ornament for Flossmas. I did opt to not stitch ornaments for either of the guild exchanges this year. I just decided, you know what, that's stress I don't need. So, you know, I didn't stitch for them last year. I was a little sad when it came around and I didn't get to go home with the ornament, but I'm just not doing it. So I thought I'd show you what's in this bag, which will also be a surprise to me. So scissors, I have like a ton of these nice Ginger limited edition scissors that are in random project bags that I'm always like, oh look, another pair of scissors. So let's see what's in here. I have this. This was the first annual ornament from my local needle workshop, the Stitch Niche in Arlington. This was for 2016. They offered this ornament in 2 different colorways, bright or more, excuse me, kind of muted. And it's all kitted up, fabric, threads, backing fabric, chart. Haven't started it. I think I just have my working copy of the chart in here, but which is the case on a lot of these, so I may not be able to show them to you. But this is a Mary Beale piece that I just absolutely fell in love with because it's an Adam and Eve piece. It's one of her ornaments. I stitched this for my friend Sylvia several years ago, and I still want to stitch it for me. So that's why this is in here, because I have yet to start the one for me. This ornament that was in Just Cross Stitch, who knows what year. It's a crown, and it's like, so I saw Sharon, now I can't think what her Instagram name is, Sharon in Florida. She had stitched this that year, and it was all done like in petite treasure braid and beads, and it was absolutely gorgeous and blingy. And I was like, I'm gonna stitch that for one of my exchange things, guild exchange things, which I did. And now I need to stitch it for me. See, this is the case, is I've got the petite treasure braid here. I do not have the beads, but I have my beading thread in here. there is this Catherine Theron ornament piece that was also in a just cross stitch. I stitched that for a guild exchange one year. I want to stitch one for me. There is this this little ornament called Winter Acorn that's by Cross-Eyed Cricket. I'm just quick flashing just so you have kind of an idea. And I'm stitching it over one. That's what I have done. And it's kind of a slog, so that's why it's still in here. But the colors on it are really pretty. So it's like blues and this dark purple and sparkly Krynic, and you know, and that's the fabric that it's on. And I think it'll be really pretty over one on that purple fabric, that lavender fabric, but yeah. This is a chart that I bought at the Paris Needlework show. And so I stitched this little Christmas tree ornament for a friend a few years ago. And now I need to stitch it for me. And I even, like, I have the fabric to stitch it. I have my batting all like cut and ready to go. I have my cardboard circles so that I could do the finishing on it. Yeah. So it's all ready to go. I just need to stitch it. I have, so this blackbird piece, I want to stitch the whole piece at some point, but for an ornament for EGA one year, I stitched this little piece that's got the holly, and it turned out super cute. So I want to stitch that for me. Are you sensing a theme? This is like second sock syndrome for knitters. I stitch so like Michelle Bendy is stitching 2 ornaments at a time. Totally smart. It's the way to do it. And then the last thing oh, look, I have another pair of scissors. So 2 pairs of scissors in this tiny little bag. This is a Milady's needle. It's called Yuletide Hornbooks. And so there's a little wooden horn book that the ornament goes on when you're done. And it was a kit, and so it had blue fabric for you to stitch with white silk, or it had white fabric for you to stitch with red silk, and I decided to do the blue with the white. And it's a little snowman. And it's over one, and I think this is like 36 count, 32, oh, I think it's 36. I'm almost positive it's 36. It might be 40, but it's small. So I've started that. So, yeah. So that's what's in this bag. And you know what? If I could just work a little bit on some of the ornaments in this bag, I mean, that's a ton of stuff, right? So, that's my Flossmas plan. And obviously I would rather try to finish rather than start new, even though I have some start new in here. I even have needles. I have most of the threads for that Adam and Eve piece. So yeah, that's my plan. And then, you know, I'm just sort of, like I said, I'm kind of contemplating what to do next year. You know, I might do like a tiny decisions app sort of thing. I might just do I'm going to randomly pick a project bag and try to work on what's in that. Who knows? You know, the problem with just picking a bag and going, is that I may or may not have all of the threads in there that I need. That's the only problem with that. So I also like the idea of, so Letitia is doing, for high tea, instead of starting something new, what she's been doing is working on an old whip. And so what she does is she, you know, pulls one for each high tea. So the last Sunday of the month, she'll pull an old whip, and then she'll work on it every, you know, for Friday off the grid party until the next high tea, and then she'll switch whips. So I like that idea of, you know, instead of doing new starts, I like the idea of having kind of a focus on an old whip kind of thing. I like Emily's idea, you know, that she had been doing this past year of, you know, trying to focus on a finish on a whip. And so even though she's doing rotation and she's doing, you know, new starts and stuff like that, she's still got like one piece that she's trying to kind of focus on at least 1 week out of the month and trying to get done. You know, she was able to get her Blackett Sky done that way. She was able to get her Village of Hawk Run Hollow done that way. So, a bunch of options, just kind of thinking. I'd love to know what you guys are planning for next year. You know, particularly if you're looking at trying to like finish some whips or stitch from stash or whatever. I mean, I kind of always stitch from stash, but, yeah. And I've got a couple of sals that I'm going to do next year, so I'll talk about those more probably in my next video. And one of my templates almost got away from me. So yeah, so that's my thought. I just want to try to, you know, knock some of this stuff out, because it's just, you know, I just feel so scattered because I've got stuff kind of everywhere. And even though I'm semi-organized, it just feels like there's stuff everywhere, and it's making me a little bit crazy. So, you know, and just trying to keep track of what's in what project bag. And obviously I got scissors out the wazoo that I don't even totally remember that I even have, because they've been in a project bag for so long. I know I have scissors in this project bag too that are also, these are gingers. They're like the leopard spotted. Those have lived in here forever. So anyway, those are my plans for December. I am going to try to record again in a couple of weeks, and then, like I said, I'll maybe have my January plans kind of more nailed down. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your sweet comments and likes and subscribes. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a note. I'm like super horrible about answering emails and comments and stuff, but I do eventually get around to them. So thanks guys, and I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving if you're here in the States, and I will talk to you again before the holidays and let you know how all of my guild holiday parties went and how our annual holiday party went. And yeah, and hopefully at that point it'll just be like slide on into Christmas, and no more parties and no more kind of crazy holiday stress. So, all right, bye guys.